and I'm like, I gotta run to go get it. But anyway, okay, perfect. It's time. It's 6 o'clock. I'm gonna have a start. So if anyone else signs on, you might hear me welcome them. I'll put us on mute just for comfort. If you have any questions at any time, please just unmute and ask your question. That's totally helpful. But if you want to type it in the chat, that works too. So I'll keep the chat box up. Okay, so let me come back to sit. I'll transition here. We might all find a comfortable place to sit, right? So if you want to start in a cross-legged shape, maybe you'll find a pillow or blanket. If you want to begin laying down, that is also a nice way to start. So really just feel free to begin class however you want. You're seated in Sukhasana or sitting in Virasana on a block or something. Maybe you're laying down, whatever works for you tonight. And it could be different every time. But once you feel ready, once you feel pretty comforted, you'll find stillness, or you'll begin to gravitate towards stillness, whatever that looks like tonight. And then you'll close your eyes and let the body arrive. Just pausing here for a few moments where we begin to draw our senses inwards. And as we draw our senses towards the body, towards the breath, towards the mind space, and towards the heart space, we'll welcome ourselves into our awareness. Welcoming ourselves into the sounds and textures of the breath. And even though we might be sensing this external quiet, we get to tune in to this internal noise. Creating this space, arriving into our awareness. In the stillness, what becomes prominent or what becomes loud? What becomes noticeable within the space of stillness and within the space of maybe some external quiet? Now, the sounds outside of the room are still present. The sounds outside of your apartment, house, home are still present. Right? There's still sounds occurring. But as we draw our senses inward, we feel this external space begin to become quieter as our internal space becomes more prominent, more loud, more present. So we can notice for ourselves what is the noise? Is it the breath? Is it sensation within some of our muscles? Is it a certain thought that becomes loud and prominent? Is it a certain feeling? Is it a question? Is it an intention? We're almost using our stillness to be that microphone. Our body, the receiver here, and then in between there's this thread of connection. What do we notice? What arrives into our awareness here? So whatever shows up for you during practice, just allow yourself to explore, offer patience, understanding to the self. Taking another breath here to arrive. And let's first welcome ourselves into one cleansing breath. Together, we'll inhale through the nose. And open the lips to exhale. This next time, you might keep the hands relaxed, or you can bring them into a prayer shape at heart center, doing whatever is best for you. Maybe taking another cleansing breath or joining me for the sound of Om. But together, we'll take a deep breath in. Very gently bowing the chin towards the chest. Just taking a moment to allow the breath and the vibrations to settle within the heart space, reverberating off the walls of the inner body and sealing our intentions for practice. Whenever you're ready, we'll slowly open the eyes. We'll bring the hands away. And as we welcome ourselves here, we're actually going to start on the belly so that we can take open wing. So this evening, we'll start with an arm stretch and then we'll go to the lower body. Now, if you're laying on your back, you'll just roll to your belly easily. If you're sitting, we'll just readjust some props just to get ourselves situated. For open wing, you might have a pillow or a blanket to prop the head. Once you allow the legs just to swing around, you'll walk yourself to your belly gently. Your left arm is going to come out to T first. Okay, so I'm going to show this both ways, but with the left arm out to T, you roll into the shoulder so that the hand is behind you. Okay, but let me just show you some leg variations in case you're not sure or just need some ideas. Option one here is to bend the knees into the chest. Okay, so it's kind of like just a little bit more supportive, more like a supine type of shape. That might feel best for your back or your hips, so you can bring the knees in as high as you'd like. From there, though, if you want a little bit more, you can straighten the legs one on top of the other. Maybe you lean back a little bit. And if anything, then this top leg, the knee could bend, the foot steps to the floor, kind of like a kickstand. And then when you're doing that, again, rolling into the shoulder to deepen the stretch. This back foot might come in front of you instead, if that's better for your hip. Feel free to explore and then let yourself decide what's best. Right? You might find your own variation, one leg bent, one leg straight. Okay, so this is really up to you. Those were just ideas or suggestions. The opposite palm, it might rest in front of you, or you might let it rest on the top hip. You might take a bind behind the low back as you allow the wrist to relax. So feel free to explore here and then decide what's best for you. That left palm might face the floor or turn up and face the ceiling. Whatever is best for your elbow, whatever is best for your shoulder. But as we become situated within the shape, we'll close the eyes. We'll let the body come to stillness. We'll let ourselves begin to arrive. Noticing the sensations of stretch. Whether those sensations are coming from the left shoulder and arm, anywhere around the chest, the rib cage, the back, hips, thighs. We're not looking for something specific. We're just noticing what becomes present. When we're gravitating towards the stillness, what becomes our noise? What becomes louder? Within our external environment, our tasks and responsibilities. Maybe during the day is what is louder, is what is most prominent. The body becomes second, but here within our practice, we're reversing those steps. Letting more and more of the body become present here. Making sure the breath is present as well. Noticing the inhales, noticing the exhales. Letting the body begin to relax if you haven't already. And continuing to release through the muscles, the bones. Continue to observe this experience for a few more breaths. And we can keep the left arm still. If the right palm is around the back, we'll lift the arm up and gently bring it back in front of the chest. Your legs can be guided one on top of the other. And taking your time, slowly roll out of your left shoulder. Arrive back onto the space of the belly. Letting the arms rest above you, maybe resting back behind the hips, whatever is comfortable. You might decide to stay in stillness here. You can bend into the knees and kick the feet up, windshield wipering them from side to side if that feels good. We always pause after our stretches, and this might be the time for you to pause. But if the body wants a little more movement, you can always bring the hands underneath you, pulling the heart forward, maybe in a low cobra or an up dog shape. That might take you all the way back to child's pose, so lifting the hips up and bringing the hips to the heels. Maybe you end up finding cat-cow or a down dog shape or whatever the body gravitates towards, so no right or wrong. But after these counter movements, we'll take that pause in stillness wherever the body rests. Just finding that meditative moment to pause. That meditative moment to reflect. Noticing the subtle sensations as the tissue contracts back. If you'd like to stay here a little longer, you're more than welcome to stay. But if you're interested in coming into open wing on the opposite side, then we'll gently awaken from rebound. No rush, but we'll allow ourselves to walk back to the belly. And then we're going to bring the opposite arm out to T. So this might be your right side, but if you started on the right, you'll then do the left. And of course, too, if just having the arm out to T, if doing that gives you a sensation or a stretch, if this is the best place to be, you're always welcome to stay flat on the belly and just have the arm out to T. But from there, if you do want more stretch, if that's where the body's asking you to go, then you'll roll into the shoulder, bringing the knees into the chest, straightening the legs, having one knee bent. Any variation with that opposite arm. Your head might rest on the floor comfortably, or if anything, maybe a pillow or a blanket to support the side of the head, supporting the neck. And then whenever you're ready, we'll close the eyes and settle into stillness. Beginning to arrive into the shape, noticing the senses of stretch. The fascia is stretching in the exact place it needs to, based on wherever there might be unnecessary tension. So our bodies are revealing those places to us. And to support ourselves here. We can allow ourselves to let go of any clenching, let go of any gripping. There's already this natural sense of tension. And in Yin and many fascial modalities, it's called tensegrity. The appropriate amount of tension to the fascial tissue is necessary because it holds the weight of our muscles and our bones and our organs. But when we soften, we're letting ourselves and we're helping ourselves release the unnecessary tension. What does not benefit the muscles, the bones, the organs. So sometimes in the stillness and in the quiet, what the body is releasing might become a little louder or more prominent. Supporting ourselves with the breath. And whenever you're ready, we'll keep the right arm still. If the left arm is bounded back behind you, we'll slowly lift up the palm, guide it in front, taking one leg back on top of the other. We'll slowly roll out of the shoulder and onto the belly. Hands resting wherever you'd like them to. And as the arms begin to relax again, you might windshield wiper the knees by kicking up the feet, rocking into the hips side to side. Maybe the body's ready for rebound, so you'll stay here. Maybe the palms press down into the floor and you lift up the chest, you extend the spine, any amount, again, taking it to child's pose, cat, cow, down dog. Instead of being on your belly, maybe you roll to your back. So again, options are endless. We want to take enough counter movement and then arriving into rebound, whatever that looks like. Just taking that meditative pause, that moment to observe. Can we feel the subtle sensations of the tissue contracting back in the rebound space? In the same way we feel them lengthen when we're in the stretch. If you'd like to stay here a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. Or whenever you're ready, we'll gently begin to awaken from rebound. We'll allow ourselves to lay down on our backs, and we're going to basically come into a double stretch. So we're going to be doing 2 poses back to back and then our rebound. So the way we're going to do this is first, we're going to start in more of like a butterfly shape. So the soles of the feet together, knees out wide. We're not going to be here very long because we're technically going to do it twice, but we are going to be here for some time. Right now, during that time, if you want a pillow for the head or any props underneath the outer knees or thighs, feel free to. Right, you might readjust the hips, gliding the tailbone underneath you, more comfortable space for your back to be within. But remember, like I said, we're coming into a double stretch. So right after butterfly, we just gently release the props. We're going to lengthen the legs. From there, we're going to immediately come right into banana. So now the hips are still on the mat and you're going to walk your legs to the left. Right? You're not going to force them. You're not going to twist. You're still going to stay grounded into the mat. You're just going to walk your legs to the left. And then from there, maybe your torso follows. Maybe it doesn't. If it does, though, you have the option to keep the hands at the hips, maybe by the ears or all the way up above the head to curve into that C shape. And I could talk a little bit more about banana once we're there, but just so you know, that's where we're going. Okay, so we're going to start with butterfly. This will be our first stretch. And then after butterfly, we'll transition into banana on the left. We'll take our rebound, and then we're going to take butterfly again, and then do banana on the right. Okay. So feel free to first find that support for your butterfly stretch. Hands might stay near the body. They might relax to the sides of the body. They might stretch up above the head. Settling into our shape here. Beginning to let the body let go of unnecessary tension, unnecessary control. And we begin to feel this release throughout the body. Softening through the layers of muscle. Softening through the layers of bone. Relaxing into the physical body itself. Relaxing into the layers of the energetic body. So just a few more breaths in this space of butterfly. And of course, if you want to stay here longer, you're more than welcome to. But if you're choosing to transition into banana, then we'll awaken the arms. We'll let ourselves move any props out of the way from butterfly. You'll slowly straighten the legs one at a time. Right? And we'll just slowly move into this transition. Arms coming up above the head, curving the body to the left. Torso follows, legs follow. Sometimes the torso curves more than the lower body. Sometimes the lower body curves more than the torso, and that's fine. But we might feel the subtle sensations from the one stretch as we now welcome new sensations. Still staying present within our awareness as we observe, as we witness. Noticing the backs of the eyelids here. Notice how your eyes can look and see, even daydream within this space. Maybe something you're feeling is becoming loud or prominent within your awareness. And staying present here. Noticing the shifts of your awareness, the shifts of sensation. And just a few more breaths exactly where you are. Whenever you're ready, we'll slowly begin to awaken. You might be releasing the arms first or the legs first, so your choice. Just take your time. The body will start to unravel from the shape. Elbows might bend, knees might bend as we guide the body to center, neutralizing the spine. Maybe you windshield wiper the knees again, the same way we did on the belly, but now we're on our back. Feet come flat to the floor, and you can rock into the hips, side to side. Maybe you're going to hug the knees into the chest, any amount. There might be some movements for the arms as well. So really, you can take any natural movement, noticing any cleansing breaths. And then from here, we'll take our pause. From here, let's find that place to rebound, whether you stay on your back, come up to sit, roll to your side body. What's comfortable for you to hear or for you to sit and notice? Well, if we're staying with the noise analogy, yes, comfortable enough to hear. What are we witnessing within the moment of rebound? If we were to stop and smell the roses, taking a moment to observe what's within us, what's around us. The nervous system arrives into this more natural state. If you'd like to be here a little longer, you're more than welcome to stay exactly where you are. But whenever you're ready, we're going to transition back into butterfly. So we're going to take butterfly again, soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Support the butterfly shape however you'd like. And then from there, we'll straighten the legs. And then we're going to come back into banana, but to banana to the right. Okay. So feel free to readjust, supporting the body in any way, following those internal cues. Letting your hands and arms relax. Notice if there's clenching in the jaw, clenching in the shoulders, letting those places release. The unnecessary tension, this clenching or gripping we might carry could seem comfortable only because it's familiar. But our practice is here to support us in the stillness, arriving into that space of discomfort. And as we explore this space and breathe into this space, we get to make those shifts and changes to the fascial tissue, reminding ourselves that we can put down whatever we are carrying, that we can release the clenching and the gripping. We'll be here for just a few more breaths. And then whenever you're ready, we might begin to awaken the arms. They can even reach up above the head just for a little bit of a stretch. And then as the hands come down, we'll remove any blocks. Now that we're transitioning out of butterfly, the hands can help release the legs. One at a time, legs will go long, and then we're going to transition into banana to the right side. So letting the arms rest either down by the hips, one arm, both arms. Maybe the hands just rest to the ears. Maybe they stretch up above the head. So whatever variation is good for you today. As your right leg walks to the right, left leg follows, but they don't have to touch. So don't force the body into any particular shape, because that's doing the opposite of what we're looking for. We're not forcing the body into anything. We're meeting ourselves at that first point of resistance, and we're letting ourselves soften there. We want to let ourselves find comfort within discomfort, to stay in the present experience rather than force ourselves through discomfort and push back. We're not even present at that point. So just being mindful here. Breathing into the body, looking into the body, witnessing here. When we talk about this space of finding balance or finding relaxation and calmness and peace and tranquility, Sometimes it doesn't seem attainable, or it doesn't seem that it's within reach. It's not relatable. And oftentimes we forget that a huge part of attaining it is to find those spaces of discomfort. Exploring that resistance, noticing what's unfamiliar, breathing into those spaces. The challenge and the growth comes from then. And what starts to trickle in is that peace, and is that recalibration and that resetting of the body. So continuing to notice what becomes louder within this space, noisier within this space. That's going to guide you to the peace or the balance or whatever word you're resonating with. A few more breaths here. And then very slowly, whenever you're ready, we can slowly begin to release ourselves from this banana shape, unraveling from the curve as we bend into the elbows, bend into the knees, guiding the body back to center, no rush. You might be windshield wipering the knees. Maybe you even bring the feet as wide as your mat, knock the knees in towards each other, and you can rest there. Maybe you're hugging the knees into the chest. Maybe the legs reach up to the ceiling. Maybe the arms wrap around your chest. And as we contract the shoulders in an opposite direction, that could feel comforting. And then eventually we'll find that pause, right? You might still be in some counter movement, and that's okay. But after both of those stretches, we'll be taking that moment to rebound. In the same ways, we might feel like we're basking in the sun. Notice the absorption here. The imprint of those previous stretches settling into the layers of the body. Just like when you're painting something, right? The paint has to dry. And our stretching helps us lubricate the joint, lubricate the tissue. And now it's settling. Becomes stronger within the pause as we wait. So just taking another breath to yourself here. And if you need more time, allow yourself to stay exactly where you are. But if you're interested in coming to sit If we're still laying down, we might let ourselves roll to one side of the body, wherever that might be. And then we'll gently press down into the floor. We'll start to bring ourselves back up to sit. And in doing so, you might be moving the arms in a way, you might be moving the legs, maybe taking a seated twist, whatever feels good. And then we're going to start talking about our next stretch. So from here, I'm going to give us two options for how you can take deer, whether you fold forward over the shin or fold over the thigh. So feel free to decide, but I'm going to show you what that will look like. We might start with a blanket or a pillow just to prop the tailbone. And we're going to bring our left leg in front of us, our right knee behind us. So I'm going to mirror you here. Left leg in front, right knee behind, and the back ankle can relax however it naturally will. Now, option one, and this is what we normally do, we're folding over the shin. So you might find blocks or you might stack pillows and blankets and things to support the fold over the shin. But just so that you can see my body, I'll use less. So for example, folding over the shin. If you want to, you're going to walk yourself to the side of your body so that you can twist over this left thigh, right? Now that back knee might come a little closer to you, and then as you fold, same idea. You might bring your forearms to the ground, you might have a block, you might find your pillow and blanket and make a little ramp for yourself so that you can rest. So whether you fold over the shin or you come to twist over the thigh a little bit, you're welcome to do so. You can kind of go back and forth between both of these, or maybe choose whatever one looks the best to you, whatever one you're resonating with just by thinking about it. And if you're trying one of the variations and you realize you really don't like it, just go into the other one. Your front shin, your back knee could be as close or as far as you'd like. You might be staying at the palms, you might be on the forearms. You might be using props for the chest, the forehead, the hips, ankles, right? If something needs it, just find it. And then as we begin to settle into the shape, we'll close the eyes, and we'll welcome ourselves to stillness here. Noticing the sensations of stretch, wherever they might be. In what ways are they sharing with you here? In what ways can we extend the breath, feeling this expansion and reclaiming of space? Meditating our meditations here We're not trying to use silence to shut anything out or to turn anything off. We're using quiet and stillness to tune in. We're welcoming the energy, or we're welcoming the conversation within ourselves. We're welcoming any sense of noise, however you'd like to describe it. Not in a bad way. It's through that presence we can shift with releasing what's unnecessary, keeping what's necessary. Releasing what's not helpful, but keeping what's helpful. Now within your deer shape, wherever you are, you might take 1 or 2 more cleansing breaths. And whenever you're ready, we can begin to slowly walk ourselves up and out of the shape. Taking your time. Beginning to release from deer entirely. You might come to sit on the tailbone. You might change the direction and orientation within your room. That's fine. You can face any direction. It might feel good to forward fold over straight legs. It might feel good to cross the shins and stretch the arms up, reaching the body side to side. Maybe a few seated cat-cows, right? Or wherever the body takes you, whether it's some sort of yoga shape or just a natural movement. You could be in child's pose, you could be on the back. And then wherever you are, you'll find that pause. Finding a place to sit or lay down in any shape. Noticing this hum or buzz of presence. Noticing what's within your awareness. And still softening even in rebound. Another breath exactly where you are. Whenever you're ready, you might stay here a little longer. If this is where your body wants to stay in rebound. If you're interested in coming into deer on the opposite side, then we'll begin to transition. So we'll start to awaken out of rebound, move in any way. And then as we come back to sit, you might start cross-legged so that we can now transition, supporting the tailbone or at least the right hip, if helpful. Sometimes you won't know until you try it, and then you'll resonate with it or you won't, and that's okay. Options to fold over the shin in deer, or you're going to twist to the right so that you're going to twist over the thigh. That back left knee might come a little closer to you if you're going to do that variation instead. But both are good options, and you don't even have to round to the spine that much. You can stay tall within the spine, hold on to props, whether you're twisting over the thigh or just sitting forward. So there's no right or wrong shape. There's no better or worse shape. We just want to honor the body's edge, wherever that place of resistance might be at this moment. Hovering in between that space of comfort and discomfort. And as we readjust, eventually we'll close the eyes and settle here into stillness. Releasing through the layers of the front body, expanding through the layers of the back body. Our body is almost hovering in this zero gravity space. As the body softens, so will the breath. Recalibrating our nervous system. Sometimes your awareness will be observing a certain place within the body, certain sensations, and sometimes your mind drifts away. There's just this ebb and flow. Within your deer shape, you might find another full breath or another 2 full breaths. And then whenever you're ready, we'll begin to press down into our props or into the mat, into the floor. We'll slowly begin to lift up through the head and chest. In doing so, the body might lean back, help the legs unravel. You might be in movements in a seated shape. You might immediately just gently lay back down. You might notice the arms wanting movement. After that stretch, you might notice the hips wanting movement, the legs wanting movement. And sometimes it could just be this gentle rock, this gentle sway. Sometimes the hands might almost massage along the muscles or press into a certain area of the body. So there are many options within this framework. It's really just about personalizing the practice and sharing the experience with the body. And then within that, we'll arrive into rebound, however that might look like this time. It might be a similar rebound pose that you've been in before. It might be something completely different. Softening the body even in rebound. Noticing this current of conversation from head to toe, left to right side of the body, as the fascial tissue is threaded in one piece. It is one fishing net. It is one big spider web. It is one long line of holiday lights, whatever analogy you want to imagine. There is no separation here of the tissue. So just taking another moment to observe, to hover here within the space. And if you'd like to stay a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. If you're ready to come into one more stretch, you might gently awaken from rebound, finding any movements. We are going to allow ourselves to come to lay back down, but I'm going to give us two options depending on what props you have around you and what, is intriguing for you this evening. So option one here is to lay back down. You're going to find a block, and with the block at the second height, so if you can see it, it's either standing on the second height or it's completely flat. So it's either here or here, depending on what's best for your neck. And as you place the, if you have long hair, you'll just gently move the hair. At the edge of the skull and the top of the neck here, almost like at that point where they meet, even if you were to press your thumbs, you might feel two little divots, the two little points within the skull there. That's probably a good place for the block to rest, but it can really be as high as you want. It's just that if you take it to the crown of the head, you're going to have to hold on to the block for support. Whereas if you find it right at the base of the skull, it's pretty supported. But either way, stretching into the neck not only, but also letting the chin move side to side. You can do this with a cork block or a softer block, a foam block. It works both ways. But allowing the chin to just rock side to side gently here, releasing into any of those tighter tissues, even all the way up the back of the head. Okay, so if you're taking this shape, then your knees can be bent, feet flat to the floor, maybe your legs go long. So it just depends on what's comfortable for you. If you don't have a block at home or that's not something you want to do, then you're welcome to take a blanket. You'll fold it horizontally. And as you bring your shoulder blades to the blanket, you're just going to arch the back. You're just going to take a little yin back bend here. Your knees can be bent, feet flat to the floor. Your legs can go long as well, arms resting down by the hips or up above the head, whatever is most comfortable for you. Okay, so feel free to choose either shape. Wherever you are, we'll allow the eyes to soften in whichever pose you're taking, letting the cheeks relax and the jaw and tongue release, softening into the sides of the neck and the throat. Releasing through the shoulders, especially if you notice that they're clenching in any way. Whatever shape you're in, it's more geared towards the upper body, torso and above. So let's notice how the lower body is responding. What is the belly doing here? What are the glutes doing here? How are your thighs responding? Calves, feet? Are these places holding unnecessary tension, or can you feel the body breathing towards them and softening? So let's just spend a few more breaths exactly where you are. And then whenever you're ready, just so that we have our time for Shavasana, let's let ourselves slowly release from whatever shape we're in. So if you have the block underneath the head, you'll lift up the hands, remove the block slowly. Take your time as you let your head down. If you're arching over the blanket, if the blanket is underneath the shoulder blades, you might lower the arms, bend into the knees as you roll to one side of the body. Sitting up just enough to move any blanket or prop underneath the head. And then you as well will come to lay back down. Let's find any natural way of relaxing for Shavasana. Legs can be as wide as you'd like to. Arms can be as wide as you'd like to, taking up space. Finding any blankets or pillows, right? You might have to come up to sit just enough so that you can find those props. Whatever will be comfortable for you. And as we gravitate towards stillness, we'll allow the eyes to close. And as we begin to absorb our practice, we'll welcome ourselves into the quiet and meditative moments of Shavasana. Very gently. Let's begin to deepen the breath. And then as we draw ourselves back to our awareness, noticing the space of the body here. Within your own time, we might be wiggling through the fingers and toes, rolling into the wrists and ankles. We can take more gentle movement to lift the arms up and above the head to take a full body stretch. The knees might bend one at a time, and no rush. Just notice what ways the body wants to move, maybe to hug the knees into the chest once more, or wrap around the backs of the thighs. But eventually, within your own time, we'll roll either to the left or to the right. And you can pause on your side body here. Just letting yourself feel the release of the back and the breath of fresh air along the spine. You're welcome to stay here and end practice. Or maybe you'll gently press down and you'll walk yourself back up to a seated shape. No rush here, taking any other movements. But then we'll reclose the eyes in case they've opened, and again, find stillness. Just to find and to take this moment of reflection. Noticing the reclaimed space within the body, the expansion within the breath, and any clarity within the heart or mind. Hands can stay relaxed within the lap. Hands might come into prayer at heart center. As we share in gratitude and receptivity, we'll close our practice with either a cleansing breath or the sound of Om. So your choice, but together we'll take a deep breath in. Om. Gently bowing the chin to the chest. Thank you for practicing with me this evening, being elevated through yoga. Namaste.